In this video, we are going to look at the parts of the stomach. So the stomach is in the upper left quadrant right here of the abdominal cavity. It hides underneath the liver and it's superior to the transverse colon. Now, if you remove the other organs, we're going to have the esophagus coming in here and it's going to enter into the cardioesophageal sphincter, and then food exits into the duodenum, which is part of the small intestine right here, through the pyloric sphincter. And it's sort of sitting on top of, it's more anterior also to the pancreas, which is in another video. So here's another view of that model. The transverse colon would be right here. The stomach empties into the duodenum. So let's look at the model now. So here's the model. Again, you drag it to rotate it. This enlarges it. This spins it round and round. And you could go forward and backwards. So here's the stomach model. And we talked about the layers in lecture. We have a mucosal layer here. We have the submucosal you can't really see on this model. This is the muscularis, and I'm really disappointed in the muscularis of this one. On some of the other models, you can actually see there's an oblique layer, a circular layer, and then a longitudinal layer. Then this is the serosa. It's a serosa, not an adventita, because it's part of the abdominal cavity and there's going to be fluid surrounding it. So this is the top. The esophagus would be right here, and food is entering through the sphincter, which is the cardioesophageal sphincter. And basically it opens when food comes and it goes kerplunk. Now this region is called the cardiac region. Now, the stomach is a J-shaped organ. There's a curve there, that's the lesser curvature, and a larger curve here, that's the greater curvature. Now this rounded, I call it a top, it's really the end, is the fundus. So fundus means end, it's always this rounded structure. We have one on the stomach, one on the gallbladder, and one on the uterus. So what's the chances that'll ask you a fundus on the lab final? Probably pretty good. So the region right here is the fundus region. Now this is the body. It is where most of the digestion occurs. And in this region, the gastric pits have all the different cell types you had to look at in histology. Now this region is the pylorus region. So in here, proteins are being digested, food is being broken down by the acid, or I guess liquefied by the acid. So that's where most of it goes on. And the muscles actually, all these muscle layers are going to be mixing it together. The pylorus I like to call a shot glass. It's going to hold about 30 milliliters of chyme, which is partially digested food. And then it's going to go out through this sphincter muscle. So if I actually turn it around, you see it's a sphincter muscle. And it's now off the screen. The pyloric region here is going to measure 30 milliliters of chyme into the duodenum, which would be right here. And I used to link it with a shot glass, and one of my students who is a bartender said, "You're being short poured, a shot is 45 milliliters. I'm like, oh, sorry. So this is the pyloric canal. Sometimes instead of the pyloric sphincter, it will be sphincter on your test. So those are the parts of the stomach. Oh, how can I forget? These ridges are called rugae. Rugae are in organs that allow for expansion. So the stomach can actually expand. So Thanksgiving dinner, you're eating, you have turkey, you have pie, you have ham, you have more pie, you have real cranberry juice, you have more pie, you have stuffing, and you then have more pie. So your stomach's going to expand. The rugae allow for this expansion. We'll also see rugae when we get to the urinary bladder. Thank you.